Et bonjour, bon lundi, bienvenue. Et la musique qui va disparaître pour laisser place à une ambiance toute particulière qui ma foi est très forte. Du coup j'espère que c'est pas trop fort pour vous. Moi je vais baisser un peu là. On va partir là-dessus. Et ben on va commencer tout de suite parce qu'apparemment le jeu nous donne pas le choix.
A lot of
Hop.
this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the
Avec la
house.
maison. Ok, bah c'est parti. On plonge dans l'aventure directement ZQSD ou... Ah, les salauds. Les salauds. Ok, commande. Ok, en fait j'ai pas le choix. Donc ça sera, hop, comme ça. Je vais essayer de faire en QWERTY. Et c'est parti. L'aventure
I lived
commence.
here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Ça m'a l'air sympathique. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Petite porte.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Lol. Compliqué, hein. Voyons voir.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Ok.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Bah on va voir.
Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Ce chemin me donne envie. J'ai envie d'y aller, j'y vais. Allez, on explore à fond. Rebep. C'est marrant. C'est très sombre. Je sais pas ce que je suis censé trouver dans ces endroits. Oula. Missing? Missing quoi? Missing une key surtout. Alors, je sais plus d'où je viens. Je crois que c'est là.
Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
Ok.
But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something but never do.
Qu'est-ce qu'on va apprendre?
The house was
Sacrée
exactly
maison.
like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
J'ai envie d'explorer. J'ai envie de tout connaître de cet endroit. Missing Milton Finch. Ah bah c'est sûrement le frère qui a été enterré 7 ans plus tôt? Quelques années plus tôt. On va dire quelques années pour être sûr. Ok. Je peux...
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Ah. Afraid of the house. Il a peur de la maison, mais pourquoi? Mais c'est pas... C'est un jeu d'horreur? D'épouvante? Ou juste... c'est l'histoire de la maison qui lui donne... Ah, ok. Je crois que je
Crawling through
sais...
the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Tu m'étonnes. T'es en général un peu plus petit à cet âge-là. La musique est super belle.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Eh bien, on va aller
For the
remettre le
first
courant.
time in years,
Ok. Ok. Ben,
I felt like I was home.
ah oui, ils ont rien vidé. Hein. Ils sont partis, ils ont tout laissé comme ça. Oh la
But
pile
instead
de
of a
vaisselle.
family,
La
they
vache.
were just memories of one.
Marrant. Des livres de recettes de cuisine. Hop.
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Yes.
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Les chats et le poisson.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Eddie. Qui est Eddie?
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Ok, c'est mamie. Qu'en est-il du reste?
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Et me revoilà. Yo, draft. Yo. Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Barbara. Ah. Ça va, hein.
Great-Grandpa
Je
Sven
découvre le
built
jeu
music
tout
box
doucement.
for Barbara,
On me l'a conseillé, donc
along with the rest of
moi
the
j'ai
house.
foncé. La musique est vraiment très bonne. Trop cool, en vrai.
Mom
Encore.
always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ok. Ça va falloir trouver la clé, je suppose. Ou trouver un chemin. Ok, ça c'est bon. Ah, ils avaient quoi?
A
Ils
lot
avaient
of
commencé
things
à
got
emballer.
left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Ok. C'est marrant comme fermeture ça. D'enfer, hein? L'enfer, pardon. Oui, il y en a trop partout. C'est le bordel. C'est un bordel sans nom. C'est terrible. Bon, j'ai tout visité en bas.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Quoi? Attends, mamie... Ok, on va suivre les lettres. Mamie, elle a creusé des petits trous. Comment ça? C'est ça, les petits trous, là?
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Hein? Quoi? Bizarre les gens dans cette... Grégory, 76-77. Oula.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Manchester. Cringe. Un peu, hein. Attends, j'ai pas lu. Ah, ok.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Mhm. Mhm. Ah, on dirait l'oiseau du même. Avec le corbeau, là. Qu'est-ce qu'on a par là? My friend Bigfoot.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Barbara qui devait être sa sœur ou un truc dans le genre.
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
Ah, le mec il s'appelle Odin quand même. Hein. Barbara.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Flow. Ah oui, oui, bien sûr.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Oh, elle casse les couilles, maman. Bon, par là on n'est pas allé. Ouh, il fait peur un peu lui. On ira après là-dedans. Ouais, on ira après. Molly. 10. 10 années.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Les gens meurent beaucoup, j'ai l'impression, dans cette maison.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom
mignon.
sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Maman, elle a pas l'air très gentille hein, avec les
Lewis
trucs,
told me there were
avec
secret passages, but I never
avec
believed him.
Edith, je suppose.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Mignon. On avance. Ouais, hein, stylé. Enfin, faut aimer les, faut aimer la mer.
On the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door.
Je sais pas du tout quel style de jeu c'est. Je sais pas si c'est juste du narratif ou un peu de l'horreur. Molly. Ah, on est dans la chambre de Molly. Bah oui.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Cher journal.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Et j'ai mangé le hamster. Ok. Non, il y a quoi? Oh, il fait noir ici. C'est quoi ça? Du dentifrice. J'ai mangé... Ok, salut, merci d'être passé, bisous. La nourriture pour Gerby. Non, je pense que je vais manger les petits fruits là-bas.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Les petits fruits. Très très bon.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Ok, on va manger quand même. Est-ce qu'il y a autre chose? C'est quoi ça?
My Halloween
bonbons?
candy was all gone.
Ok.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
Quoi?
I was a cat.
Je suis un chat. Oh, c'est trop mignon.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
J'ai tout fait. C'est moi le chat. Oh, je ronronne. Oh, je suis trop mignon. What the fuck? Est-ce que je peux... Non, c'est trop loin ça.
Mom
Ah,
and
non.
Dad didn't even look at me.
Je suis un chat, je suis un chat. Je vais te bouffer. Ici.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Presque. Je vais la voir.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And
Ah bah c'est pas
suddenly,
très malin ça.
I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the
Ah
grass.
c'est stylé.
Rabbits.
Des lapins. T'as attrapé.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one.
Bah bah bah.
Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Yes.
A mama rabbit.
Là. Une grosse lapine. Je vais la manger. Je vais te manger. super chouette. Yes.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Allez hop hop hop.
Suddenly, I was a shark.
What? Ah ouais mais non. Ah. Oh non. What the fuck? Oh yes.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Toi je vais te bouffer.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off
Yeah.
the flipper and it tasted really good.
Je suis un regard.
Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
Qu'est-ce que je suis? Qu'est-ce que je suis? Je suis un poulpe?
Now I was a monster and I smelled people everywhere.
Des gens tués. Je veux tuer.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Oh oh. Ah, je l'ai éclaté.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Tout cru. Je vais aller à droite. Je vais manger le capitaine.
After the last
Get up.
passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Ah yes, les toilettes. Une toilette là. Non. Oh. Je vais par là. Là, à gauche.
I got closer and closer.
Ah, je sais. Le poisson. Peut-être. Non, pas le poisson. On va quand même pas manger la petite fille. Ou le hamster.
all my stomach started growling. And suddenly,
Et
I
je
was
suis
me.
caché.
I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Ah ouais, hein? Le monstre sous le lit, hein, le fameux.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Ok. Oh, le chat! Moi. Y a pas d'autre chose Ok.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the
Et
past.
merci pour le raid,
So,
le Spoonman,
when
et
we
merci pour le
adopted a stray
follow,
kitten,
Docteur Virus.
She was the one who named it Molly.
C'était à gauche. C'était à gauche. Bon, si c'était à gauche, eh bien, il doit y avoir plusieurs chemins.
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
On verra. Salut!
When Edie told people
Bienvenue.
Sven was killed by a dragon,
Comment
she
vous
could
allez
also have said
tous?
he was building a dragon-shaped slide. Louis died a week before we left,
Oui,
but
coucou, bien sûr.
Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Ok. Bah, c'est toi qui me l'as suggéré, et comme je l'avais depuis un moment, et comme un excellent ami me l'a offert, j'ai aucune raison de ne pas le lancer en fait.
Her room was like a museum.
Odin Finch. Donc ça c'est le papa de Eddie, notre arrière-grand-père si je comprends bien. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est?
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune
Ok.
and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son,
Il y a
Johan.
donc une malédiction.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Ouais. C'est très marrant. Ces
Odin's daughter
histoires.
Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family
Ah, c'est pas notre
cemetery.
arrière-grand-père, c'est le arrière-arrière-arrière-grand-père. Compliqué.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
De gauche, du coup, probablement. Et là, oh, ok, on a tout vu. Je peux. Ok, mais. Je peux pas. Ok, faut. Ouh, des fois c'est quelque chose, hein. Alors,
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a
Ingeborg.
long ways.
c'est très. C'est avec la souris que je fais toutes les actions. Enfin, beaucoup d'actions. C'est très marrant. Enfin, c'est différent de ce dont on peut avoir l'habitude.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
L'homme taupe.
I hadn't thought of
Comme,
myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Edith Jenner Lake Trip. My friend Bigfoot. Ok. Built 1937. Sven Finch.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a
Oh,
lot
trop
younger than my
mignon.
mother.
C'est la chambre de mamie.
Edie knit me a new
oui,
pair
c'est
of
ça.
gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
Trop gentil, mamie. Qu'est-ce qu'on a par là? Oula.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
C'est spécial, hein? Oh, la petite.
It was a pretty big trace.
Ah bah ça, c'est très très rose. Ah. Quelle horreur. Ignoble. Tu te souviens de ce jeu?
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Comment ça, immonde? Putain,
It's in the
j'ai
last place
l'impression
you would
de...
look.
C'est la plaie. Ok.
It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Ah. Comment ça, immonde? Immonde parce qu'il est nul ou immonde parce qu'il se passe des trucs immondes? J'ai peur. J'ai très peur.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Ok. C'est des photos ça? Oui, c'est des photos. On va passer par ce petit trou. Quoi, oui? Oui, quoi? J'ai posé une question avec un choix multiple. Fort Calvin. La moquette rose qui absorbe toutes les bactéries de pied. Bah oui, non mais c'est parfait ça. La moisissure, les champignons, les... Tu me diras, au moins il y a à manger dans la salle de bain aussi. Oui. Fort Sam. Ah mais c'est la... Ah oui, c'est la... Attends. J'ai l'impression d'entendre une voix. Ouais, ça va pas. En fait, je sais pas si je dois avoir peur ou pas. Ce jeu est très étrange. Samuel Finch.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Ah oui, Calvin est décédé avant, ça, blablabla, il a grandi jusque-là. Ok, comme ça. Okay.
And that he never talked about him.
Trop marrant. Trop marrant. Allez, hop. Trop bien. Attends, il y avait peut-être des trucs avant. Il y a un escalier là.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
D'accord. Dans le sens, explore bien les pièces, c'est ça? Ok.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Ah oui, j'imagine qu'il y a pas mal de choses. Mais déjà, je crois que j'ai sauté une étape en rentrant dans la maison. C'est un problème. Ah, c'est moi qui dois faire... Je sais plus comment on fait, comme ça. Bon.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
I think
Voilà,
Calvin always wanted to fly.
c'est dangereux, hein. Faut pas avoir le vertige pour faire ça.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
Attends, de faire quoi?
I told him going around was impossible.
Ok.
Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Oh, oh. Ça va mal se terminer, hein.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
Dis donc.
I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Là tu tombes, non? Regardez pas! Regardez pas! Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Mhm. Ouais, enfin, trop bien. On vient quand même d'assister au... On vient quand même d'assister au décès d'un gamin.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Ça, on peut pas y aller.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Allez, hop.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller
c'est là.
hands and bellies.
Oh. Un petit raccourci à la Dark Souls. Dark Soulisation du jeu vidéo, on connaît. C'est vrai que l'histoire ne dit pas ça.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Oh, une guitare. Swan Lake, Barbara. Ok. Ok. Oh, bah, dis donc.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Ok. Barb Street. Passer d'enfant star à total inconnu. Anonyme.
Of all the
Dreadful
stories people wrote about
stories.
Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch.
Quelle voix.
As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
Maintenant, elle parle comme
But in
ça.
a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Ah, basta.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that
cri.
was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
Sympathique.
So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration,
Alors
but
là,
I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That
Essaye
came
de
from
voir.
the basement.
You're right! Also, I
cave.
loved your delivery on that.
on n'y est pas allé.
Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key
Okay.
hidden in the music box. The
Ah.
secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks.
Ah,
I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned.
mhm.
So Barbara went to
Très
look for
étrange.
him, right on cue.
Comme par hasard.
She reached for the music box.
Ah, trop bien. Comment on tourne?
And as she wound the
Comme ça.
key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Trop bien. C'est trop bien.
Who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Rick? Where are you? C'est la voix de Barbara qui a mué.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Salaud, il m'a presque fait peur. Hein. Ha, chef.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
Allez,
She
tiens.
threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later,
Barbara!
Mais-
Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Pas sympa.
at the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh, oh. Non, non.
Oh dear.
Allez, salaud.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true.
Ça a dû se faire
She
caca
saw
dessus.
what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous.
Oula.
And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Ah,
Now that's what I call a real
la pauvre.
ear.
Ça doit faire mal. Uh-huh.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Ok. Ok, non, c'est du vent. Encore les frissons après l'avoir déjà vu 2 fois. Ah, bah je dois repartir par là en fait. Allez hop. Et on s'abaisse.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Donc Barbara, c'est bon.
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
On va aller au sous-sol du coup. Ouais, ça c'est la salle de bain. On l'a faite. Ça on l'a fait aussi. On va aller à la cave. Molly on a fait. Là c'est Walter. On a fait Walter. Parce qu'il n'y a plus rien dans la chambre de Walter. Non, il n'y a plus rien dans la chambre de Walter. Là on a quelque chose. Je me souviens plus.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Uh-huh. Alors, de qui? Dis donc. Let's go. Ah, et la musique est si bien. C'est si beau. Ah, et ça repart. Trop mignon. The basement. Sven. Sven. Qu'est-ce qu'il a à nous raconter, Sven?
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Faut que je fasse faire mes rappels aussi. Terrible.
I saw Edie sneak
Viens
down to the
ici.
basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Maybe. Voyons voir.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Fait noir là-dedans, hein.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories,
Truc à voir ici.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
C'est vrai que j'ai l'impression qu'ils ont jamais vécu très vieux les ceux qu'on a vus, à part Papy Mamie et ceux d'avant. Walter. Ah non, c'est vrai, Walter.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
C'est marrant que cette heure se répète.
But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, even for today.
C'est ça. Il connaît si bien.
I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Et
If
finalement,
you wait
non.
long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
La narration, je la trouve vraiment géniale.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Qu'est-ce qu'il mange? Des pêches? J'ai pas
It's been a
regardé.
week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
C'est très noir ici. Pêche au sirop, ouais. Ça avec du thon. Pêche au thon. C'est incroyable. Pêche au thon, c'est incroyable.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara. And Molly.
The monster that killed Molly.
And Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake.
J'ai eu peur.
But I need to stop living the same day. Even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Ah ouais, donc
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
ça donne des petits frissons quand même, hein, cette histoire.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Le train. C'est bon. Il y a toujours un petit truc fantaisiste. Enfin... Ah ouais, d'accord, il s'était vraiment fait son petit coin à lui. Hein. Et on a rien ici? Réfléchissons un peu. Pour l'instant, je pense que la mort la plus horrible, c'est Calvin. Genre. Pour l'instant. Je trouve celle qui me choque le
Maybe
plus.
she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can
Qu'est-ce
only
qu'elle a
imagine
bien
what
pu
else she was
nous
hiding.
cacher? Pour l'instant.
I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Je sais pas combien il m'en reste. Je peux pas voir mon livre? Non, je peux pas le voir. On verra après.
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself
Parce que
and found out what happened
ils sont
to
maudits.
everyone else.
Edith va mourir. Ou alors elle va avoir de la chance.
But now I'm worried the stories themselves
Mais non, elle
might
raconte
be
son
the
histoire.
problem.
Donc elle peut pas être morte.
Maybe we believed so much in a family curse. We made it real.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you
Je
should
suis
know about
intrigué
your
par la petite
family.
lumière rouge au fond là-bas. Ah, j'ai peur encore.
And the history you're a part of.
J'irai après. Là, il y a. Non. J'ai envie d'aller là-bas. Je sais que je peux pas, mais j'ai envie d'y aller. J'arrive pas à savoir si c'est dans le jeu ou dans la vraie vie que j'entendais
Though to
ça.
be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Je vais aller voir le petit truc là-bas. Ça. Rien ici? Non, ok, dommage. C'est... Oui, oui. Clairement.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Gauche. Il y a un truc là. C'est un truc? Oh! Je sais pas si vous avez entendu ça. J'arrive pas à savoir si c'est dans le jeu ou dans la vraie vie. c'est super bien fait, hein. On s'attend pas à un réalisme tel que celui-là.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and
Oula,
stubbornness
oula, oula.
and madness.
Chouchoune? Faut vraiment que t'apprennes à miauler. Elle est con. Là, elle vient de se réveiller et elle se rend compte que je suis
Any of it
devant mon
seems
PC en train de parler
possible.
tout seul. Donc elle s'inquiète. Ah, mon chat. Ouais. Elle est con. J'explore, hein. Eh mais... Ouais, c'est là. C'est bien ce qui me semblait. Il fait noir ici. Il fait très noir ici.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
C'est vrai que c'est spécial comme façon de faire. Ah...
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
Oh non, c'est
3
terrible.
of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Oh non. C'est si triste. Oh non. C'est si triste. Les petits animaux là.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Molly Finch. 10 ans. Quasiment jour pour jour d'ailleurs. On sent. C'est trop triste. Moi ça me... 93. 47. 47 47. Non, 48. 52. Bon, je sais plus compter. 48. 53. Vas-y. Barbara Finch, 16 ans. Quelle histoire! Ah, je peux monter encore.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
C'est terrible comme représentation.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Ah, c'est la vieille maison. Il y a d'autres choses à regarder, peut-être? Non. Ouais, hein?
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
77. Il est très très jeune lui. Bah il a... moins d'un an. Moins d'un an, ouais. 11 mois. C'est terrible. Cette famille, c'est terrible. Sanjay Kumar.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
Non, vraiment, j'imagine trop, genre... Le gamin
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now.
qui meurt en
Part
faisant
of
de la
me
balançoire,
thinks
quoi.
this is what she wanted all along.
En plus,
for me
ils
to
ont pas
come
retrouvé le
back
corps,
someday.
donc...
And find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Attends, elle est enceinte là? Allez hop hop hop. Parce qu'attends, elle a 17 ans, Edith. 22 weeks. C'est 7 mois, 6 mois et demi, à peu près.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Hop. Comme ça, au milieu, en plus. Bien qu'il y avait eu un indice, parce que... À un moment, quand elle se glisse dans un des passages secrets, elle dit ça a été fait pour des plus petites personnes et avec de moins gros ventres.
They were both pretty intense.
Donc on aurait pu... C'est... Ouais, c'est génial. Sam.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
C'est vraiment ces photos là. On dirait des vrais. Enfin, c'est peut-être des vrais. Enfin, j'en sais rien. Je vais me renseigner sur le lore du jeu plus tard. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on a là-dedans?
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime. Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
Ah non, c'est flou.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Aw.
Oh.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hey!
That's the keeper.
J'ai pris ton kiki en photo.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Prendre les poissons.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
C'est pas les poissons que je dois prendre en photo. Je sais
Your
pas qui
grandpa
je dois
Sven
prendre.
taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Je prends pas de photos.
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map. Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Oui, je cherche papa.
Let's see. Maybe.
Ah,
Dad!
Good eyes, Don.
trop
Before you
mignon.
take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Take the shot of what? For what? Qu'est-ce qu'il est? La conférence Rockstar Tuquet est affreuse. Comment ça? Raconte-moi. Pendant que j'essaie de prendre en photo un truc, mais je ne sais pas encore quoi.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don!
Ah, la photo creepy.
I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Ah, creepy as fuck. What the fuck?
Sorry, Don. Just gotta reset the timer.
Allez, hop hop hop.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Oh la vache. Oh la vache. Oh la vache.
Of all these stories, that's
Ah
the
bah là,
one I
il-
wish most that my mom had told me.
Bah dis donc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Il nous manquait 10. Et Sven? J'ai loupé Sven peut-être? Voyons voir. Y a quoi par là?
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Vraie conférence Zoom. Yes, ben, la joie. Hein. Du coup, je devrais avoir plus de viewers que ça, comme c'est nul. C'est quoi cette histoire? C'est quoi ça? La suite? Oh, ça a l'air serré là-dedans. Ah, non, je veux pas faire ça.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Oh non. Oh, ça va être terrible. Oh, ça va être terrible. Ça va être terrible. Allez hop, on se lance.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Ah. Trop long.
Over, Gregory. It's time to.
Non. Oh non, 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 faut pas laisser tout seul.
Non. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Oh.
What his world was like.
Et la musique.
It reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw.
Oula.
Sure made him happy.
J'adore. J'essaie de le retourner. Hop. Allez hop. Ah, on va monter sur la baleine. Yes. Allez, encore. Cette fois.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worry about being too but I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know
Oh
you
no.
did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
he saw.
Oh non. Oh non. En plus, t'es obligé de le faire.
I don't understand
C'est terrible.
about Gregory. About everything.
Oh, c'est... Ah, puis la mise en scène, elle est... Ah, non.
But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy.
Oh, c'est terrible.
And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay.
Oh.
Love, Sam.
Pourquoi je joue à ça? Rien que ce midi, j'ai vu une vidéo sur Eriksen, le joueur de foot là, qui a fait une attaque avec toute sa famille et ses amis dans l'équipe qui étaient pas bien et j'étais pas bien non plus. Alors là, ah, je suis une victime. Victim. Un poème pour Gus.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. Make him cry.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Ah ouais.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Alors ça va être terrible, encore une fois.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to us was, "Make the music louder."
Ah, le papa qui s'en bat un peu les couilles. Légèrement. Oula.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day.
J'en
Out
connais
there
qui
on the
serait
beach
content.
alone, just you,
Un
the
ami
wind,
fan de Méduse.
sea and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Ok. Oh yes, de l'escalade. Là c'est quoi? Ok, Dawn. Dawn. On n'a pas de nouvelles de Dawn. Elle a vu son papa.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Ah d'accord. Dawn, c'est notre maman.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Mhm.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Ça avant.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Ah d'accord, c'est lui Sanjay. C'est papa.
Louis was born a year later.
Lewis, à qui il va arriver des bricoles encore. Comment c'est? C'est lui, Lewis? Milton. Bah non, Milton, c'est vrai.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
Thyme, sage, basil.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Chez Bio.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Edith.
But it didn't last.
Oh non. Encore.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Y a un truc par là, non? C'est la suite par là. Je sais pas. On va voir. Milton.
After Milton disappeared,
1992.
the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Rien par là. Ok, on peut ouvrir ici. Trop bien ça. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose que je connais? J'ai pas l'impression. Peut-être. Peut-être. Je sais pas. C'est beau tout plein, hein, ce qu'il dessine. Bon alors.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Ah. Voilà, je vais trop vite. On va recommencer.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Ah, c'est la fameuse porte.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Ouais. Bah j'ai pas trop d'indices là, hein, vraiment. Pour le coup, bah c'est la porte, c'est la magie, mais...
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Là c'est la porte d'entrée. Qu'est-ce qu'on a par là? Ah bah rien du tout. Toujours à faute des autres, bien sûr. Bon, comment ça s'ouvre? Gauche, droite? Non, en arrière. C'est fermé? Ou alors c'est moi qui sais pas faire? Ah, d'accord. Allons-y.
Lewis's room smelled very
Non, 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 je...
familiar. That part of him lived on.
Of course. Ah ah. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? On se demande. Locker content.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
He died a lot. Until he died one last time.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
À couper les
He
poissons!
kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Ah!
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats.
Des chauves-souris.
And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Ça va mal se terminer, je le sens.
But he found something more.
Oh la vache, c'est trop bien! Le concept est trop bien!
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on.
Pas ça! Coupé! Jeté!
I even encouraged him.
Voilà, plus le temps passe, moins on voit ce qu'on fait.
It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Oh.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick.
Je peux pas allumer ça du coup?
Then he made musicians.
Trop bien.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Ah ouais, là, on voit vraiment plus rien.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Uh-huh. Couper du poisson.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a...
Allez, votez le chat là. Vite, 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 vite. Queen.
Handsome Queen. Queen was on her
Sinistre
own
serpent
quest for...
ou arc-en-ciel. Allez, hop. Ah, ah, ah. Ok.
Radiant Rainbows.
À droite. À droite, toutes. Oui. Ça se passe bien.
He followed the sound of her.
Oh, sa guitare électrique.
Electric sitar.
Sitar. C'est écrit guitare, ouais.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Ah ouais, par contre là il est dans son esprit.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Oh là. De plus en plus de poissons. Efficace ça, le petit
But he was
Lewis.
so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Tellement bien ce concept là.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh non, il a fait un truc terrible. Oh non, il va faire un truc terrible.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Mais on sait que ça va mal finir, quoi.
Miss Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Oh. Le Chamoli. Qu'est-ce que le Chamoli?
His queen waited, holding his crown.
Oh non. Oh non. J'ai vu ce qui se passait. J'ai vu. J'ai tout vu. J'ai tout vu. J'ai tout vu. J'ai tout vu.
Bend down his head.
Petite musique joyeuse là, parfait. Allez, mets-moi la couronne.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Ah, c'est terrible. C'est terrible.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Ils meurent tous. Fatigant, Edith, hein? Non. No. Ouais, hein. Bah après la noyade du bébé et un petit suicide, c'est vrai que ça manquait, C'est partie des choses qu'on a envie de voir. Bon, par là. Attends, parce que là on a fait, hein. Il y avait autre chose. Plus haut. On peut pas y aller encore. Non, on peut pas. Ah si, il y a une porte là. J'avais pas vu. Faites comme si je n'avais rien fait.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
C'est tragique quand même, hein.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Oh, le petit oiseau. Ah, ça va être terrible encore.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
La fameuse bibliothèque où tout le monde est enterré.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Les histoires des Finch. L'histoire des Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Ah, on va aller au bateau.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know,
Tu m'étonnes.
I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Oh shit. Tout droit. Tout droit.
I
Ça va
got
pas être si
turned
facile que ça, c'est
around.
ça. Ah.
I started seeing things.
Bonjour.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Très cool.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
Maman.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Mais est-ce qu'on a la fin? Je veux la fin.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Oh non. Je veux
The next
savoir.
morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it.
Ce truc que tous les enfants ont fait.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Oh non.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was
C'est
alone.
terrible.
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
Quoi?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
C'est pas ce que je pense quand même. Ils ont pas fait ça.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your
Ah mais
story
non, oui,
begins.
oui le.
I'm sorry I won't be there to see
Quand
it.
j'ai su pour toi, genre
It's a
voilà,
lot to ask.
son bébé.
But I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh non, c'est terrible. Oh non, c'est terrible. C'est terrible. Oh non. Oh non. C'est si triste. Oh non. C'est terrible. Je vais passer ma soirée en boule en fait. Ah la vache. Mais pourquoi ils font ça? Bah, quelle histoire. Quelle histoire. Donc 2 heures le jeu. À peu près 2 heures. Ça fait 2h11 que je suis en live. Oh, j'ai eu le petit succès. Merci Johan. Je ne sais pas pourquoi. Gaston Gregory. Oh non, le bébé. Le bébé qui court et intense, bah, clairement. Hein. Très très bon. La mort la plus horrible, du coup. C'est ça le débat. Hmm. Ah bah. Ouais, dans un sens, ouais. Il a décidé de vivre et finalement... Walter, c'est le train, hein, c'est ça? Bah, sa vie, elle est terrible parce que... Il s'est enfermé et au moment où il a arrêté de s'enfermer, ben... Quick. Dead. Le générique est stylé aussi, genre vraiment. C'est un concentré de créativité ce jeu. Thank you. In loving memory, Lewis Finch, pardon. Oh. Trop bien. Trop bien. Très heureux d'avoir fait ce jeu. L'option jouer, une histoire est maintenant disponible. Est-ce que j'en ai loupé? Non, je les ai tous faits. Hein. Bah. Quelle histoire. Sven? Bah Sven et Sanjay. Mais c'est surtout... Enfin, c'est les gens qui sont... Genre les maris, femmes. Donc je sais pas si... Ouais, voilà. Alors, j'ai quoi comme succès? J'ai 4 succès sur les 9. Regardez dans tous les trous de murs et télescopes assez longtemps pour entendre le commentaire d'Edith. Edith. Empruntez les 2 sentiers vers la maison. Ah bah oui, j'ai pris le sentier du bas, donc il y a le sentier du haut. Laissez le marin ivre terminer sa chanson. Ah, j'aurais pu. Faire tomber toutes les lettres du prénom Grégory dans la baignoire. Ah. Refaites l'histoire de Calvin. D'accord. Beaucoup de choses relativement simples à faire, donc c'est un jeu que je vais terminer à 100% sûrement off stream pour éviter de vous embêter avec ça. Et j'avais dit live de 18h30 à 20h30 et on arrive à la fin, donc est-ce que c'est pas parfait? Est-ce que c'est pas parfait? Donc là, je termine ce live maintenant. Merci d'être passé, hein. Ça me fait plaisir, on a gagné quoi? Un follow, on a eu un petit raid de Le Spoonman. Ça fait très plaisir. Et on se retrouve vers 21h, 21h30, juste le temps de manger. Pour GTRP. Comme tous les soirs. Quasiment tous les soirs cette semaine. Demain, je pense que je vais pas streamer parce que demain il y a un match de la France et ben tout le monde va être devant le match. Enfin, la majorité des gens vont être devant le match. Mercredi, j'essaierai de trouver un nouveau jeu indé à faire. Et jeudi, vendredi, on fera le jeu que j'aurai trouvé suivi de GTA. Du coup, je vous dis à tout à l'heure. Bon appétit, merci d'être passé. Et des bisous, ça fait très plaisir. Ciao, ciao.